Do your knitting needles not feel sharp enough or have annoying little ridges where they join to a cable? If so, stay tuned to find out my easy way to smooth that off using a multi-tool. Now before we get started, I want to mention that this is a sort of project you do at your own risk, and you might mess up the first pair. Now I think if you're going slowly, that's not very likely, but it's definitely possible. So start with a pair that you are not too sure about or that are not your favorite pair or whatever the case may be. I think it's a great way to salvage needles that are otherwise you might even get rid of, because those ridges can catch on your yarn, and if you're at the point where you don't want to use them anymore, then being able to kind of smooth them out can try to give them a second life for you. So for this project we are using a multi-tool. Now Dremel is probably the most common brand of these, however this one's made by Mastercraft and it works just fine. Now for your multi-tool, you are going to need a smooth bit for the end that is meant for metal. This is the set I have. It has lots of different options in there, and I like to use these little blue ones. They are smooth, but yet they do pull the metal off. If you start with something bumpy that's really textured, you can go to a smooth one after. However, the bumpy one will be taking off a lot of the metal each round, and it gives you a lot less control. So even though the smoother one is a little bit slower, you can kind of check your progress as you're going because you don't want to take off too much. Alright, so get it going in your tool and let's jump right in. So you can see I have a wide arrangement of bits here. Some of them are quite rough, and these are not a good choice for your knitting needles. You want something fairly smooth, and so it will make a nice smooth edge. So even if you use one of the ones that are a little more rough to start with, you want to go over with something a little bit smoother at the end to really buff it out and make it nice and smooth. So go ahead and put the bit into the end of your tool. I'm using just this blue bit. I've used it before, so it's a little bit more worn. Then it's time to pick your needle. I'll use a big one just to make it a little bit easier to see. And sometimes I have found my interchangeables will get a bit of a ridge right at the join edge from tightening it, maybe too tight or whatever it may be. And so we're going to start by just smoothing that right out. So I'll just turn my tool on low, and I'm going to be holding it down and try to lift it just a little bit off the counter. And as I smooth it, I'm just going to keep kind of turning it and rolling it. Then you can turn off your tool and check it and see how smooth it's feeling. So I'm feeling around to see if there's any rough spots. You also want to make sure you don't go too hard on the edge, because then you're going to need to pull back and smooth it to make a gradual join. I still am feeling some on this side. Now that I look, I see there isn't as much where the colored plating came off. So I can feel it's quite a bit smoother already. You'll notice there's some particles coming off just from shaving the metal. So it is a good idea to have something underneath, as well as to wash your needles well before you use them. My cables are all in use right now, but it's a good idea to check them and make sure that they're smooth even when attached, although I can already feel that that the ridge is gone. So next up will be to try and sharpen them. Obviously this isn't necessary, but sometimes you are looking for a sharper point than what the needle has. I'm going to go with a smaller size just because those are the ones I generally like to have a little bit sharper. Alright, so I've got my set here, and we're going to work on just going slowly. You don't want to make it too much and have it damage the end, because you can't get back the metal parts that you've taken off. I'm just going to do them one at a time, the same technique, just kind of going back and forth and checking to make sure they're smooth. Any roughness will be not so good for your yarn, so just kind of keep going around. I'm going to go end to end, just smoothly, kind of like you'd be kind of shaving the edge off. So I've stopped it to check, and I want to not only check that this part is even all around the tip, but also that the join is feeling nice and smooth. I can feel it's not quite as smooth. It's pretty good. I don't think it would hurt a yarn, but I'm going to just now work on this next section to smooth it out even more. Alright, those are feeling good, and again, they're not super pointy, but they are a little bit more so than they were to start with. So I'm going to duplicate it and try to do it as similar as I can on the second needle. Alright, so there are my sharpened needles. You can see they're a little bit pointier, but not too much. It's always better to start small, and then if you still want more, to do another round, just repeating the same thing until they are to your desired sharpness. And I've worked on these joins as well, just to smooth off any ridges that come up. So that's it. You should be ready to go with some newly sharpened knitting needles. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If so, feel free to subscribe for more videos and leave a comment down below. Alright, see you next time. Bye bye!